They thought he was a doctor who could answer troubling questions about a loved one's death. They hired him to do an autopsy. Yeah, but now, as CBS 2 investigator Pam Zekman reports, they believe he may be an imposter taking advantage of people in a state of grief.
We wanted to do everything we can just to honor him and make sure that they did right, that there was no negligence in him passing away. This just hurts.
After his 74-year-old father died the day he was supposed to be released from the hospital, doctors there ruled he had a heart attack, leaving Louis Quintanilla with questions.
Did they do something to accelerate my dad's death? That's what I want to find out.
Their funeral director gave him a brochure for National Autopsy Services, touting its independent forensic pathology services, and he contacted the owner, Shawn Parcells, shown here in his full medical garb.
He sounded like he was the best.
So this is the autopsy suite.
Parcells' Kansas facility is filled with specimens and body parts from autopsies across the country.
Some of these cases are homicides. Legally, we have to keep those forever.
But now dozens of clients nationwide, including here in the Chicago area, have complained they paid Parcells $2,000 to $3,000 for autopsies and never got the results.
It seems that we were scammed. This guy took advantage of our feelings, took our money, and kept playing us.
Kane County's coroner, who's also president of the Illinois Association of Coroners and Medical Examiners, says it's illegal for Parcells to do autopsies here.
Only a licensed physician has the authority to do an autopsy in the state of Illinois.
Parcells is not a doctor, but Quintanilla believed he was. His website lists his nationwide offices, including this Naperville funeral home. The owners say Parcells never had an office here, and they did not know about his lack of credentials when they allowed him to perform several autopsies there for other funeral directors. Parcells denies telling clients he's a doctor, as he explained in an interview with our Kansas City affiliate.
I tell people all the time, I almost became a neurosurgeon. That doesn't mean that I'm a doctor. That doesn't mean that I was in medical school. I really did almost do that.
Quintanilla thought Parcells was a doctor.
It's been 20 months, I have no results. I'm upset.
So is Raul Guerrero, whose mother, Leticia, was diagnosed with lung cancer last June.
It went from being a 5 to 10 year life expectancy to you're going to die in a few days. And I wanted some answers.
Guerrero found National Autopsy Services online and texted with Parcells, who told him,
I'm here to help, not rip off.
And he wound up doing what to you?
He ripped me off. He did not help. He made this even worse.
Guerrero never got the results. Now his mother has been cremated, and there is nothing he can do.
This could have been stopped. This gentleman was exposed years ago, and he's fell through the cracks.
Parcells' professional credentials were first questioned in 2014 when he was part of the team performing an autopsy on Michael Brown, who was shot by police in Ferguson, Missouri. Parcells gave his opinion about the shooting at several media events.
It could have happened if he put his arms across in a defensive manner. We don't know.
The notoriety prompted him to start using the name Professor Lynn, his middle name. The Better Business Bureau has received about 18 complaints, resulting in the agency's F rating and a national alert. Some clients said they did get autopsy reports from Parcells, but
there's some allegations they're referencing a police department unable to prosecute somebody because the autopsy was incomplete, inconclusive, and not done right.
Now Parcells is criminally charged in Kansas with theft by deception and desecration of bodies. A judge has also issued a temporary restraining order in the Kansas Attorney General's civil fraud suit. It prohibits Parcells from doing autopsies or in any way representing himself as qualified to do them. In court, Parcells objected.
Honestly, Your Honor, I'd like to keep doing some autopsy work outside of this state. That means I need to move my business to Missouri and effectively move the whole company to Missouri and reorganize in Missouri. And that's what you want me to do, I'd follow that.
Pamela Padilla says when she recently heard about the case,
I was in shock.
Her mother died a year ago, and she was still fighting to get the autopsy report needed for a possible malpractice case. Days after the restraining order was issued in Kansas, Parcells was still conducting his autopsy business in Illinois, telling Padilla via text, "It's done. I will send it today." He didn't. Now she's filed a complaint with the Illinois Attorney General.
Because of the anguish that he has put so many people through. The anguish, the deceit, the lies. He just doesn't stop.
Parcells denies violating Illinois laws and the charges he faces in Kansas. He says his education and job experience qualifies him to do autopsy work, and he consults with pathologists when needed. He also says autopsy reports for clients in this story are done but can't be sent until the judge permits it. Brad and Erica, that judge has already said even if they get the autopsy reports, in his opinion, they are essentially worthless, and that's a quote.
Wow. Pam, thank you.